Now, I recently did my State of the Collection video, where I went through my entire watch collection piece by piece and explained exactly why I picked it up, exactly why I liked it, and exactly why I might be selling it. Now, I actually got a lot of comments on that video basically calling my watch collection a bit rubbish. Some people are saying that all I do is collect cheap watches and I should actually look towards getting something that's more expensive. Basically saying that I should consolidate my collection down from about 18 watches down to around 6 or 8 and upgrade the watches in their opinion. For example, let's say I sold 5 or 6 watches from my collection. That would leave me with over 2 grand to spend on something like an Omega Railmaster. And I think in a lot of people's eyes, they would see that as a huge upgrade. Sell 5, bring in the 1. You're going for quality over quantity. Now, I can absolutely see why someone would think this way. After all, in most walks of life, it is a true thing that you get what you pay for. Typically, when you spend more money, you receive a higher quality product or service. But in today's video, I'm going to be making an argument as to why cheaper watches are actually better. By the way, I've heard that if you subscribe to the channel right now, you've got a 100% more chance of someone buying you a good watch for your next birthday gift. I'm not sure whether that's true or not, but I wouldn't risk it personally. Now, one huge benefit to affordable watches is their availability. You can pretty much buy the affordable watch brands from anywhere. Me, for example, I have shops really close by to my house that sell Seiko, Casios, Tissot's. They're in walking distance from where I live. So I can go into these stores, I can try the watches on, I can talk to the people that are selling them and get a good idea whether I want to buy that watch. However, luxury watches are slightly different. Typically, they're available in less locations and they're only really available in big towns and cities. So if I wanted to visit an Omega authorized dealer or a Rolex authorized dealer, I would have to travel around half an hour to get to my local ADs. But it is a fact that affordable watches are more accessible by the majority of people. In my opinion, you get so much more choice when it comes to affordable watches too. Because there is so much competition by affordable watch brands, they really need to be different to grab people's attention. So typically, affordable watch brands are working harder to get your attention than these luxury watch brands do. You'll find hundreds of different styles, sizes, colors, all around the same price point, which gives us enthusiasts a ton of choice when it comes to buying your next watch. But typically, there is a lot less choice when it comes to luxury watches. Affordable brands take a lot more risks with the designs that they put out. They experiment with some crazy colors, crazy K-shapes, and they can do that because they haven't put millions into the production of one watch. Where some of these luxury watch brands have to make a model work in order to turn a profit. Otherwise, they're gonna lose millions of dollars. The affordable watch brands can afford to be more daring with their designs, because if the design doesn't work, they'll sell it at a discount and they'll just move on to the next one. Now, not only are affordable watches cheaper to buy, but they're also miles cheaper to maintain too. Parts for the watch are often easier to find than luxury watches, and of course they're a lot more inexpensive too. Replacement movements for these watches are usually super easy to find. It's certainly a lot easier to find a Seiko NH35 than a Breitling movement, for example, and the cost of servicing one of these affordable movements is of course much less than a luxury movement too. It's a lot less complicated for the watchmaker, and there's also less risk involved. I believe that once you get over the $1,000-ish mark in watches, it's very hard to tell the difference. If you get a $1,000 watch next to a $10,000 watch, the differences are honestly negligible. Sure, us enthusiasts can tell a slight bit of difference, but in some cases you can't even tell. Usually it's the finest of details that you're paying the extra money for. I'm talking about the finishing of the movement or the finishing of the case, but you can actually get everything that you want under that $1,000 mark. You can get a watch that's chronometer certified. You can get watches under $1,000 that have insane water resistance ratings. You can get watches that have breathtaking finishing, and you can certainly get some fantastic lume for under that $1,000 mark too. I like to compare it to a car, because when you spend more on a car, you can definitely see the upgrades that you get. For example, the engine might be a bit quicker, you'll have heated seats, you'll have all of the fancy gadgets on your dashboard. There is tangible things that you can feel and see where you can see where your money has gone. But I don't think that that's necessarily the case when it comes to watches, because typically these luxury brands lean on their heritage to sell their models, because one thing that usually comes with these historical brands is that they have a great history. But there is plenty of affordable watches out there that offer some insane history. Omega's hero product, the Moonwatch, the Speedmaster, the Bulova Lunar Pilot also went to the moon. The Rolex Daytona, famously worn by Paul Newman. However, you've got the Yamaha Rallygraph that was worn by Mario Andretti. Not to mention various Seiko divers and the rich history that they have too. You've got watches like the Hamilton Khaki Mechanical, the CWC G10, two affordable field watches with genuine military heritage. You don't have to spend thousands on an IWC to get a Flieger with heritage. Laco are doing one for about $500, and they have just as much claim to that design as IWC do. When you buy a luxury watch, it feels like it comes with luxury tax. After all, these huge brands have a lot of bills to pay. They have hundreds of employees. They're going to be putting millions aside for their advertising budget, and those hundreds of employees are going to want a Christmas party at the end of the year. They have big targets and quotas that they have to make every single year. Now, that is still the case with affordable watch brands, but it doesn't seem to be so in your face. It doesn't seem to be so much of a cash grab. Luxury brands have been putting their prices up over the last few years at a crazy rate. I think of JLC and Omega as some of the worst offenders. And there's this absolute myth that when you buy affordable watches, you lose money. I personally have never lost a high percentage amount on a watch that I've sold. In fact, if you're patient and you shop around, you tend to make money on affordable watches. Affordable watches are way easier to sell too because there is just a bigger market for them. And a lot of affordable watches tend to go up in price once they're discontinued. I think it's true that you lose more money buying a pre-owned Rolex than you do an affordable watch. Let's say you bought a vintage Datejust for around $6,000, and let's say after about 6 months you decided you wanted to sell it on and get something else. The likeliness is that you'd be losing minimum $1,000 on that watch, because when you buy something like a pre-owned Rolex, the dealer who sold it to you has to make their profit too. And when you come to sell it, the likeliness is whoever buys it off you wants to make their profit too. Now, these last 2 points mainly apply to micro brands over like the more established affordable brands, but for me it is an important factor that I definitely consider and a reason why I buy affordable watches. Typically, these affordable micro brands are family-run businesses by actual watch enthusiasts. You can talk to the people that run these brands. For example, Ivan, who runs Vario, you can shoot him an email whenever you want. Or Kyle, who runs Stratton, you can send him a DM on Instagram. You can actually get a personal feel for the people that are running these brands. And you can really tell after speaking with these people that they actually care about watches. You can recommend improvements to them, things that you'd like to see in future models. Good luck doing that with Omega. You simply matter more to these micro brands than you do to the bigger luxury brands. They'll leave a like and comment on your Instagram photos. They'll share your Instagram shot on their story. It's so much more personal, and you can tell that they actually care. They value you as a customer, and they want you to collect their watches. They want you to get excited about their up and coming releases. They'll ask you for your opinion on things, and they'll make changes to their watches that their fans want to see. Will I try out some of the big brands? Absolutely. I'm going to be getting an Omega Seamaster at some point early this year, but that isn't because I feel like I need to climb this imaginary ladder. It's because I found a specific model that I really like the design and the story of, but I'm not expecting it to blow my other watches out of the water. I'm not going to be throwing everything else aside and only wearing that watch just because it's more expensive. I appreciate watches of all sizes, shapes, and prices. I'll still be throwing on my $10 Casio F91W multiple times per month. It doesn't matter how much it costs, it matters how much you enjoy it. And if you've not yet seen my State of the Collection video, then I definitely think you should. I go through all 18 watches in my collection, the keepers, the sellers, and everything in between. Go check it out, I'll see you over there. Bye for now.